In the Wanderlust Tavern, there is the smell of fresh cooked food, clinking of glasses, the occasional squawk of a chicken. The deep lurker has gone through the portal, and with Esmond's device, the portal has been closed. You've returned to the town. And yeah, as you recuperate from the journey, eat a bit of food, discussion flows across the table about what to do next.
So quiet without Casey.
Yeah, it's funny. Casey and Shalati are both missing. That's the funniest thing. Isn't that so strange? I mean, I just hope that, they find one another out there in this cold, cold weather. He was doing a good job warming her up before. I see you, Araya.
Please stop. Please stop. This is... No.
She's just shrinking down at the table. She's just like,
If we don't start talking about what we're gonna do next, she'll keep going like that forever.
I just... I don't think anybody's gonna be done with all the things that they have to make. Kabeth, aren't you working on like a shield or something?
No, the shield. I've just finished the chainmail shirt for Ez, but I mean, there's lots of work to do, and I gotta find someone to take care of my siblings. Like, I can't leave town. Like, there's no one they're just young teenagers. Things will run amok, and the whole house will burn down, and the whole town will burn down. It'll just be bad.
She just sort of gestures at Kabeth. See, we just...
Well, I mean, Kabeth, we can talk about in detail later, but I'm not 100% comfortable leaving my mom alone either. She could take in the siblings if you're all right with that. I would have to talk to her first, but I think she'd be open to it.
I mean, I have to remind myself how many are still in town. Hold on. Well, I mean, does she have room for three? Because there's three of us left, plus me is four, but I'll be leaving, so she only needs room for three, not four. And I mean, she could also just come stay at my house if she wants. It's warm and cozy, and there's lots of food.
I'm sure that we could talk about it with her. There's definitely room back at the house. It's been particularly empty since Tick and Talk left for the tower, and then even more so after my dad. So I think she would like having the company. Actually.
Okay. I mean, that would make it easier for me to leave. Not that I want to leave. Do we have to leave? Where are we going?
We made a commitment with the verdict that we would help him. That involves traveling to... What was the name of that town? Started with an M.
Mirwood?
Mirwood,
yeah.
But that was also eventually. We don't know this man a timeline. We could make him wait all winter if we care to. I mean, what's he gonna do? Get better faster and go on alone?
I mean, I thought he came here. I know there's lots of stuff going on, but I thought there was like a necromancer and stuff, and we have the local portals to deal with. You still have to figure out the Oranakus situation. I mean, Luna's out there by herself not by herself entirely, but she said she'd come back. What if she comes back and we're not here?
Right, like I said, no rush to go to Mirkwood or wherever.
Well, I mean, there is kind of a rush. I mean, winter's only getting worse. If we don't leave soon, we'll probably have to go through even worse conditions.
That's actually a really good point.
Or make the verdict wait till spring. Again, why are we on his schedule?
What if spring doesn't come? I mean, nothing is the same. It shouldn't even be like this now. We can't count on that. That's a good
And
point,
that
though.
necromancer freezes to death, and we're here for when the crops start to go bad, so we can use whatever magic Casey or anyone's got to keep our own folks warm and our own crops growing. All the more reason not to leave.
One fallacy in that bit of logic there. If the necromancer dies, I think they just come back.
Is that what makes a necromancer a necromancer?
I don't know. I like the romancer
Don't they
part.
need a second necromancer to necromance the first
Yeah.
dead necromancer?
Yeah.
So it's a chain of necromancers.
Unless they have something that prevents them from dying in the first place. And then are they still... Well, I guess necromancy means that you're raising the dead? But if you never die, are you ever dead to be... Never mind.
Well, I mean, we're all, not dead. No, they'd have to live for a really long time before they became something beyond death, because we're all not dead until we die.
What?
Yeah. Well, I mean, necromancy, I suppose, when you do it to somebody else, and then I don't know. It's not really romantic when it's just you and yourself.
Why does it have to be romantic?
Necromant.
There's nothing...
It's just the second half of the word. It's love of death, maybe. Etymology
Peach,
of...
you need a hobby, Peach.
I think that's philia.
This is her hobby.
Meddling in other people's love affairs.
No, imaginary necromancer's romance.
I'm just making up puns about romance being a necromancy. Hardly talking about real people at this point. In fact, I'm not even talking about living people.
But do you think that should a necromancer never die or come back from the dead, or should have died and does not die, doesn't that just make them a lich?
I mean,
Well, the verdict seems to probably know some way to stop her for good.
I heard that the verdict took a DNA test, and it turned out he was 100% that lich.
What's DNA?
What's a lich?
Oh, just in one of the books, vaguely mentioned, it's probably a mythological creature, a lot like an Haranakis.
DNA is when you do one of those, detect magic spells. Detect something, something.
Detect necromantic ability?
Yes!
That sounds right.
No.
Peach, high fives, Araya!
Well, so,
Now Casey's here, and we're gonna pun you all to death.
you said, I think you would get a pretty good list of like all the stuff we have to do, right? It's portal stuff and then whatever with the town for the necromancer, right? Oh, and Muna.
Safe return to Muna. We have the moms
mean-
on the Muna situation, though.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I could use another month to make more stuff, but if winter is going to get worse and no promise of it getting better, I guess it is better to go sooner rather than later. I know that we got lots of people to help out there, and maybe find more supplies for us.
And this might be Sal's only chance to see anything outside of town.
That's just terrifying.
No, Sal, I'm just really thinking of you. If the world ends before you get to see any other place but Shepherd's End, it would be a shame.
That's a nice thing to say.
It's both fatalist and optimistic. A careful balance.
Nice.
I've been trying to come to terms with the fate of our world.
Well, if it doesn't get destroyed before we reach the next town, I made a short list of the stuff that I think we have to think about if we're going to travel for a week across land to get to where the next town.
Mm-hmm. So, ice skates.
Maybe. It's more basic than that.
We should probably consider packing for upwards of 3 to 4 weeks as a precaution, because I don't anticipate that whatever we end up doing in Muirwood would take a day, and then we can just turn back around.
Yeah, and we might, if the neighbors, don't have enough food or something, we might want some to share, or if we get stuck there, or like you're saying, it takes longer. But basically, it's food and gear and the means by which we like travel. Were kind of like the big categories, and I thought like maybe one or a couple people could like handle whatever those things are. So like some people do food and they like get all the food prepped for however much we're gonna do, and then someone else makes sure we have all the gear and stuff like that. Or I mean, as opposed to us just doing it individually. Would that be
I
better?
know you already prepared a list. Why don't you just hand it out?
Okay.
I know you, Ava. Give me your list. I'll help you. I'll help you gather supplies, I promise.
She's holding on the sheet of paper as you're trying to take it from her that
me.
clearly has
I'm
names
trying
written
to
next to all of.
I'm trying to help speed this along.
All right, you take it from her.
Oh, see, peach food. I'll help.
Yeah, that is accurate.
Esmond smells toast.
Just as
Are you having a stroke?
just to keep things simple, you need 5 pounds of water per day and 1 pound of food per day, unless you have something that augments your character.
Holy crap!
Quebec times 2.
5 pounds of water a day?
2 liters of
I
water
definitely
weighs.
do
Yeah.
not eat/drink that much in an entire day.
That's great. I mean, I guess if you're rigorously hiking, maybe that would make sense. But I'm just thinking about how little water I must consume. Like I'm constantly dehydrated.
You have to be dying, honestly.
Yeah.
Your kidneys—they're so small.
GM, do we have a cart or a carriage that we would be able to bring with us on this trip?
Yeah, certainly.
But what do we have that can draw it?
We might just have to draw it ourselves.
We'll take turns. I'll push from behind.
I'll ride on top.
That's anti-help. That's unhelp.
Traditionally, your carriages would have been pulled by llamas.
We have llamas.
We could steal a llama.
We don't have llamas?
How much? How could I pull it? Just attach it to me.
We technically have llamas, but they've gone mad with freedom at the temple.
Mad with freedom. I love that line. I feel like that should be used as a line for kindergartners. They've gone mad with freedom. You'll never get them back under control.
God, it's gonna apply to my juniors very quickly. Their last week of school is this week. They're mad with freedom. They know there's nothing I can do to stop them from doing anything.
Not fair.
GM, do we have any other llamas besides the ones that have made themselves at home at the temple?
At some point, I mean, it hasn't been that long. Shalati, I think, had done some things to kind of get them in order, but you guys don't have. What was it? You might want to speak to Shalati about the intentions of regaining control of them, because I think she wanted to grow their population, and taking them to do this might disrupt that.
We'll just take the least virile llama.
How do you know which one that is?
Shalati would know. She's
Shalati would definitely know.
What are the determining factors?
The standards by which you measure that.
Length of their fluffy facial hair.
Araya, what are
you
you gesturing?
A beard. I don't understand why you are all looking at me like that.
Yeah, it did look like you were momming a beard.
A beard?
Yeah.
Obviously.
Sure.
What else do you determine llama genetic predisposition for good llama?
As someone who's half goat, I'm very uncomfortable with this entire conversation.
It just... What about the sheep?
Chris, can we just skip to 2 days?
We're not going to make it, Kevin. I told you.
I'm punch drunk from insomnia. This is what you get.
This is great. I'm loving Araya with the jokes. This makes me and Peach Me so happy.
Okay, so we have a cart, and it would be really helpful to bring it. We just need to see if Kabeth can drag it, or if we have a llama that Shalati would be willing to let us use to try to drag it, and that would be really helpful. So let's just say travel goes to Shalati. She'll handle whether or not we have that, like the cart and all that stuff. And then Peach and Sal, what if you guys did food stuff, just to make sure we got like plenty of food?
Sure,
Makes
I
sense.
got it.
Okay, and then let's see. Araya, do you want to do shelter and gear? Because you've traveled some, right? Like, make sure we have the stuff we need to stay kind of warm and how we're gonna sleep and that stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and then
Shoes.
then, Casey, I guess, can you confirm the townsfolk are like as prepared as like everyone's good to go before we like head out? And you just go around and talk to people and make sure that they're all like, I don't know, make sure we don't need anything, or they don't need anything from us, I guess.
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. What did you say?
Oh, I was saying that we are trying to figure out like stuff that we have to get done over the next couple of days, and I thought maybe you could check around town and just sort of check in on people around town and make sure that like they're okay for us to be gone for maybe a few weeks or something, or like there's nothing we need to do to help them prepare or anything.
Why wouldn't they be okay?
Well, I don't know, just like last minute things. I figured if, or at least let everybody know we'll be gone for a while. And I don't know.
Yeah, I can let the town know.
Okay. And then, Kabeth, did you want to check on Muna again before we leave?
Yeah, I can do that. But did you say I can't do food stuff because you don't want me to eat it all?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll go check on Luna.
Okay.
I'll put together like a sampler platter for you, Beth. Like one of each thing that
Oh.
Sal and I put together in the packages and the parcels. You can have a whole test
Yeah.
test.
Oh, good. I can check it for quality. That's very important.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I guess just as much food as we can take. Do you guys think we should do like a set amount, or like as much as we can carry? Like, should we carry all the extra in case the other town needs it for like trade, or like they need
Well,
some?
Food is one of the few things that we will just have less of as we go. As much as our town can reasonably part with coming into winter.
I
Yeah, that
think
makes sense.
that at the very least we need like a pound of food per day per person.
Triple that for me.
Wow.
Triple? She sort of like
Yeah.
scoots her breakfast pancake over to you.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Have you just been sneaking the snacks to stay healthy?
Maybe.
You should tell us. We could take better care of you. I had no idea. I thought it was just twice as much, but you've been basically like, I have a roll.
She puts it in her pocket. Thanks. So I'll need that later.
Okay. Is that everybody? I guess. Is there anything else that we need to do before we leave over the next couple days to think about or anything?
I can help wherever anybody needs, but I want to try and focus on crafting more of those arcane bullets for the verdict, if possible. The more time I have, the more I can make before we need to leave.
Okay. I was just gonna help Lily make more health potions before we head out, and make sure the Physicker's place was all like stocked up and everything was set for, a few weeks. Unless I need to do something else. Okay. Yay. Go team.
Now, wait, what was Casey supposed to do again?
He's gonna tell the town that we're leaving and just make sure that everybody's like settled and okay, and there's nothing that they need help with that we could only help with if we were here and stuff like that.
Casey, you need to be the town handyman for just another day. Just reach the top shelf for others' clear hearts.
No, I'll handle it. I'll
Yeah.
handle it.
Like a town crier. Okay. Well, I guess that's what we're gonna get done, and then I don't have any idea what the verdict's gonna do, but I'm sure he'll figure stuff out. And I guess we'll just tell him we're gonna be ready to go in like a couple of days. And then, yeah.
Did Doctor leave?
Yeah, Patrick was just tired of standing in silence. I was like, that's too awkward for me. I gotta turn the camera.
Doc slowly sinks beneath the counter.
Oh no, Doc pulls her mask up. Doc has that thing she uses when she gets anxious in front of people. Suddenly, just like slowly, we pan back to Doc, and now she has her owl mask on.
No. Good plan, Doc.
Okay, I'll be in the workshop if anybody needs me. Kibeth, why don't you and your siblings just swing by whenever you get a chance, and we can sit down and talk with my mom, figure out what to do.
Okay, will do.
Sal, I need to raid the warehouse.
What?
There's bound to be warmer bedrolls or just small things. I'll handle it myself. Don't worry about me.
She's totally
No,
gonna
I'm
throw
gonna
your
come.
inventory.
Well, come with me if you care about organization.
I have to. I don't know what you'll take.
But
I thought you were gonna help me
you-
cook.
but Peach
I-
needs-
Look, no, I need to inventory the food stores.
Yeah, that's why I put you guys together, so he could just inventory the stuff that we were doing, and you could be the person that designs and how much and like stuff, and he just does the accounting.
You cook literally everything better than me except for quiches. I mean, you cook those well, too.
Might I recommend hardtack? It is both lightweight, nutritious, and doesn't go bad.
It doesn't matter how much it weighs, you have to eat a pound of it a day or you die.
Well, not necessarily. You add about a pound of water to the hardtack.
It can
and then
be a pound of anything.
Has anybody noticed that Doc's orders have gotten progressively sterner over time?
Oh, that was Patrick. That was totally out of character. That she would not say.
no, just funny.
Also, hardtack is the worst tasting, hardest stale cracker you could ever imagine.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, you haven't had any that I met. I never made hardtack in my life, and it's gonna be better than whatever you described.
At the
Nasty-ass
temple, well, the temple does pride itself on the most bland and meditation-provoking hardtack you can imagine.
Yeah, meditation provoking. I'd want to imagine doing anything other than eating that gross food too.
It does cause spiritual growth and not so much physical growth.
Yeah, I'll put something together.
I'll eat anything anybody else doesn't want, because, yeah, it'll be fine. Not, it can't be that bad if you put, like, a little seasoning on it, you know.
Esmond slides his half-finished plate of food over to Kibeth and then heads out to the workshop.
Yeah.
We're so sorry for starving you this whole time.
Oh, I just eat whatever anybody else doesn't finish. Basically, the town garbage disposal.
Oh my god.
Nothing goes to waste in this
heavy into
town.
that good stereotype.
Yeah.
I just gotta stop drinking whenever Allie starts talking.
Yeah, Ava
Oh,
will do the same thing that Esmond did, sort of push the remnants of the plate offering the stuff, and then she'll wander out to go and do her stuff. Here you
Beth
go.
just like slides the entire thing into her mouth in one guy. Kevin.
Beth, I don't mean to be offensive, but do you want like a part-time busboy thing? Just, you know, clearing
no,
tables.
but you could just, bring me over leftovers whenever you like.
Sure will.
I have at least some idea of what each of the characters is kind of planning to do.
Chris, before Beth leaves town, she's gonna stop by Ez's place with her siblings.
It'll be some days before you guys leave, so I need some.
No, before Beth goes to see Muna, she's going to bring her siblings over to Ez's place. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Because that's more of a journey.
Each. How many people are left in town?
Peach would know this, but Kate doesn't. Do you?
I think you guys are like at maybe 6 or something like that now.
96 is something.
1 second.
Not quite 100.
Okay.
Chris, does the settlement production include us?
No, it does not. And just if you take 4 off of that number, that'll be accurate.
Okay.
That's what I was just looking up.
Which 4?
You guys lost 4.
Or that died, remember?
Why do you keep forgetting them? Never forget.
4 Bill.
Just because they had no connections in town and no friends or family that we needed to notify, and because we had to look up their names multiple times, doesn't mean that they weren't important to us.
It was Tinky Winky, Dipsy, Lala, and Poe.
That's the ones, the
Never
very
forget.
ones.
There will be 84 people in town once we leave. To answer your question, Kate.
Well, that was Casey's question. Peach answers correctly. 84.
Nice.
Fair enough. Should be simple enough. Casey nips out.
It'd be so nice if Casey just wrote like personalized calligraphy cards letting everyone know we're going to be absent for about a month.
I feel like it's going to be much more like a fireworks display in the town hearth, and then some very, very loud noises. Maybe
It will
Casey's
get their attention.
amplified in some way, and it's going to seem like dire straits because he wants to get all their attention.
Or he'll make an entire shadow play about Esmond riding off to go help a whole other town with his genius.
I think that's
Is Ez still here? No, Ez is gone. He didn't get to hear this.
So who's left? Is it just
Is it just
Quebec
you and
here?
me as we're like
Oh, Sal's still here, right?
Quebec is still
Quebec is
cleaning
still
up
here.
plates.
Yeah.
Beth's
She's
cleaning
got
up
to talk.
plates, and Sal's getting inventory pads to take with him to go to the warehouse and for the kitchen before we leave.
Now, Sal, do you happen to know everyone's shoe size? I know you pay a lot of attention to the general fashion, but if I'm going to craft some snowshoes. Snowshoes are kind of one size fits all, though, huh?
I suppose it depends on the style you're going with, whether it's slipped on or buckled. Buckle's probably better. You can adjust.
Yeah, and if the buckle breaks, then it's slip on by default.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little different if you have hooves, but she points to her boots. She's like, these ones are special, so I'm all set.
Oh, and to
One
answer your
less
question,
pairs.
no, I have not memorized everyone's shoe size. That feels intrusive.
She sort of like sips her tea and looks a little closer at you. Uh-huh.
Araya, you are in rare form today. What was in that tea?
Well, I found some of the flowers that Ava had planted along the perimeter actually make for a great addition to tea. It's just some honeysuckle.
So, honeysuckle. All right. To give
This
honeysuckle
is
a try
me
one
on
of
a
these days.
sugar high. I'm going to make the warmest bedrolls ever. I do not want a repeat of how cold we were coming back from the Leviathan thing. It was so cold. Do you think that Casey actually gets cold?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
I mean, fire isn't impervious to everything. So, like,
But he seems like he is.
I mean, I feel like wet cold is worse than just cold cold. So, like,
Yeah.
snow might be really, really bad. But, like, if it's just dry and cold, like, if he's creating his own heat, I mean, he still wouldn't burn as hot, but he wouldn't be as cold as we would be cold because we don't have fire to heat us up naturally. So then we just get colder than normal because he already is warm to begin with. So then,
Yeah, no, I think
You lose
you're
the heat.
onto something, Kebeth. And in fact, actually, question: do you often get cold, or because as your metabolism is running a little bit higher, that you're running a little bit hotter lately? I mean, running makes me very warm.
She looks down at her furry legs and she's kind of like, well, I mean, I have some natural built-in insulation, but I mean, the upper half of me isn't furry, so the top half of me gets cold, especially if I'm running really, really fast and it's cold out, and then the wind cools me off, and if I'm not wearing enough of a coat on top, then I'm extra cold, even though the heat of running does warm me up a bit.
Yeah.
And then so I think I need something that will keep me insulated but will allow my sweat to dry off and so that I have proper ventilation. Yeah.
Or, now, hang with me because Sal is going to say no, but robes.
No, not a robe for me. Definitely something that maybe a cape. A cape that like I could wrap around when I want the wind protection.
Half of a robe.
But then
a back robe.
And then I have the openness underneath so that the sweat can dry off behind me as I go, and because I also have to wear the backpack and stuff like that. But
I still think a parka is actually our best option. Like a really festive parka.
As we pull back from this conversation and fly across the snow-covered town, let's do some little vignettes of what your character's going to be doing in their preparation. Some of these might call for scenes, but some of those might just be you just doing a little vignette, depending on who's doing what. Yeah, so sometime over the next hours.
I mean, for the next 2 days, Esmond's going to be crafting bullets. I will message you details about that. The only other thing was he wanted to have a discussion with Kebeth to kind of hammer out details regarding her siblings staying with Gwen or Gwen staying at their place, whichever worked or is more convenient.
Okay. Kebeth, I think you said you wanted to bring them to the Blackheart's place?
I don't have a vignette because I have to do that conversation to ascertain what is happening, and then I know what I'm doing after that.
Okay. So do you want to have the two talk?
I think that makes the most sense.
Okay. Yeah. There's a knock on the door of the workshop.
Zephyr's zipping around, getting to the door before Esmond does. Esmond approaches and opens it.
Kebeth is standing there with her three sisters. They range in age from 16 to 10, so they vary in heights. They have different shaped curly horns, but they all have goat-like satyr features. And Kebeth kind of awkwardly smiles, and she's like, Hey! I hope it's okay I brought all of us over because I figured everyone should be involved in discussing what is best for care.
Yeah, sure. Just come on through. We'll head into the kitchen. In preparation, Esmond's already moved all the particularly dangerous or pointy items in the workshop, just in case one of the younger siblings gets curious. But just gonna lead them through the workshop into the kitchen. Just kind of call out to Gwen. Mom, Kibeth and her sisters are here. Whenever if you're free to come talk.
Yeah, Gwen pokes her head around the corner and heads inside, and you can see the younger sisters have already sort of like kind of poking around things in the workshop, but you usher them kind of into the kitchen.
You see Beth being like, "Don't touch anything."
Beth?
Hey.
Yeah, well, Gwen's like, oh, well, let's see how much you guys like cookies. She leads them over into the, leaving the two of you alone.
They love cookies. Kibeth says, wait, we have to talk to you. We have to leave town for a while, maybe 4 weeks, maybe forever. If I die, I don't know. And well, she gestures to her sisters. I mean, this is all that's left of the family, with my papa's missing and my mother, well, got recruited, and we don't know when she'll be back, and we don't know when my brother, either brother, will ever return, and so it's just me taking care of them. And well, Sasha's 16 and she's not a baby, but it is a lot to do schooling and also taking care of these two. And well, I was hoping maybe you would take care of them while I'm gone.
Well, of course, yeah. If you're going out of town, I mean, they could even stay here for a little while. I mean, are you gonna be going with them?
Yeah. I was gonna talk to you in detail about that later on. But Kibeth and I and everyone else were prepping to head to Mirwood soon.
Oh, Mirwood, that's a long weeks away. It's gonna be cold.
We're all gonna be gone for quite a while. I anticipate, but I also am. I don't know. I feel confident that we'll all be coming back, but Kibeth is worried about leaving her sisters behind, and I know that we've got space, and I would hate to leave you all by yourself as well, so I thought this could work out.
Yeah, Gwen looks uncertain for a moment, and her shoulders kind of slump. She looks down, and then she kind of perks up, looks up, and she says, okay, yeah, they can stay here, and yeah, there's plenty of space, and I'll make sure they have extra snacks, and when you guys get back, everything will be great.
They're real good at chores. And she kind of nudges the youngest one, right?
Oh,
real good at chores.
Yeah, I'll put them to work fixing some machines.
Yeah, I mean, well, blacksmithing is the family trade, and well, Nolly hasn't quite gotten to work with tools so much yet, being 10. We all know a little something, and so I'm sure they'll pick it up real quick.
Yeah, she smiles, looks at them. You can see them kind of peeking. Okay, well, yeah, you don't have to worry about anything. I'll take care of all.
Okay, we'll be back later tonight because I have to go find Muna and tell her we're leaving town before we go. So I'll be back later, but I'll bring it by tonight.
Esmond will walk them back out the door, and as Kibeth is leaving, when the sisters are a little further away, he'll grab her shoulder and just kind of pull her aside for a moment. I know you're nervous, but the town is well protected. A lot of the immediate dangers, we've managed to handle, and my mom will get very aggressive to protect them, I'm sure. But I'll make sure that you get back to them, okay? I promise you.
I don't know how you can promise that, but I believe you. Thank you. We've already lost so many people. It would break my heart to come back and find out something happened while we were gone. And I know it would equally be difficult for them if I didn't ever come back too. So just trying to get through.
Well, at the very least, one of those things I can directly work to affect, and that's making sure that you come back. So that's what I'm gonna do.
So I'll make sure you come back too. I got your back.
I'm sure my mom would appreciate that.
I pretty much owe her. I mean, those can be a handful, when she kind of gestures to her sisters walking down the street, especially without Papa around. Ooh. It'll be fine. I'm sure they'll be on their best behavior because they're not at home and it's not me. So, yeah. Anyways, I got prepping to do and I gotta go find Muna again. Hopefully she'll be kind of right where I left her and all will be well.
Yeah, get out of here. I'll see you later tonight, okay? Be safe.
You too. See you later.
It feels like next.
Casey is in his house digging around through a pile of stuff that's stacked in the corner, and yeah, it's got to be big. I agree. He turns to his shadow and speaks towards it. I mean, yeah, I think doing it at the hearth is probably the best spot. And he looks at his shadow again. We could do it at the tower, but it's not exactly done. And he looks out the window and sees the rickety structure that he's building out of his obstacle course that's half finished, kind of jutting above all of the other roofs in the area. It's like, yeah, it's not quite done. And he sees it sway in the wind a bit. More exactly stable. Could be helpful though. But yeah, no, the hearth definitely ends. There's like a clatter as a board falls over. He's like, there it is. And he wheels out this large gong that last anyone has seen it was when Casey announced the death of his uncle, Topaz Alcio, the famous shadow play connoisseur of town. And it's like, yeah, this will work. And then a couple other things that should round everyone up. And all that's left to do is give a speech. He looks down at his shadow and a smile appears and smiles back at him. And it's like, all right, let's do it. He starts to roll it out, grabs a couple other things on the way out, and starts to make some preparations.
Let's see. Who wants to go next?
It's real short. Ava just is spending the couple days mostly with Lily in the physicker's office. She's reviewing just a few different techniques of how to treat people, especially for things like frostbite if they get a little too cold. And making sure that everything is organized around the physicker's office. And then the rest of the time, the two of them are just working on a couple of potions to try to make sure that everybody has at least one for the journey.
Yeah, and so at some point, Lily says, yeah, well, we've run out of silver. When you guys get there, if you're able to get to the apothecary in Mirrorwood, we really need more.
We need more what?
Like silver root, or even like flame bulb, something like that.
Yeah, I think we can.
It doesn't grow so close to the water.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for. I'll put it in my journal. And she pulls out this small book that she has. That it's for dads, and it just says where different plants grow around the region, essentially. And she's sort of in the back section starts jotting down a couple of notes. Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for it. We'll try to carry as much as we can back. I don't know if we're taking a cart or not, so that'll really depend on, I guess, if they have any at all to begin with. So may not be more than a handful, which doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. That's fine. Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for it. And if there's anything else we need, just let me know before we head out, and I'll try to pick some up. Hopefully their town isn't as bad as it sounded like it was when the verdict first showed up. So hopefully there'll be people there.
Turns out to be bad, just turn around and come back.
Well, we can't, because we have to help the verdict to stop a necromancer. That was the entire agreement. So we'll have to support him and do what we can to make sure that we help out that and hold up our end of the deal. And so we can't just turn around, even if it's
not worth dying over. If it's too dangerous.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that I don't really think we have a choice. We have to help the verdict, and in some ways we're kind of lucky, because if things had gone, it's a weird way to look at it, I guess. I guess I shouldn't say we're lucky at all, but we would have all gone to the tower already if things had been different, and that's probably dangerous too. So just got some more time to be better prepared before leaving town.
Yeah, I guess.
Anyway, I think you're good with this stuff. You're better at it than I am anyway. So I'm gonna head out, and yeah, we'll just finish up tomorrow. And again, if you think of anything, just make a note on the chalkboard or something, or don't forget it, and tell me before I leave.
Yeah, okay. Go.
I have an idea for a scene. Sal can be in it. That would actually make a lot of sense. Peach wants to head to the Dry Iron Pub, and she would want to do that with Sal in tow because she knows the dwarves don't like elves. Chris, did you say something?
No. No, I said that sounds good. Just as a reminder, I don't think there would actually be any dwarves left at the Dry Iron Pub. Like Lowry.
Lowry's there. Okay. Well, yeah, then Peach would head there with Sal in tow if he would like to come, regardless.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Unlike the Wanderlust, you see old mining equipment decorates the inside of the Dry Iron Pub, and very few patrons in the pub itself this time, but you do see a Lowry behind the bar, being healed from his injuries, and a handful of people there as well.
Peach would approach the bar. She's gonna look over her shoulder at Sal and say, Lowry, can I talk to you for a minute?
He glances up, blinks a little bit. He's not used to seeing you come here. You don't come here very often, I would imagine. Yeah. So he puts down the glass rag and comes around. Yeah. Don't see you too often here.
Yeah, well, clientele's changed a bit, but old habits die hard, you know?
Yeah. Well, sit down.
Oh,
If you want to.
all right. And she'll kind of take a seat at the bar, but she's looking at Sal too. Look, I don't need to take up too much of your time. I want to let you know that I'm shuttering the Wanderlust. At least for the next couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah.
It's too much to keep her up and running for the next couple of weeks while I'm gone with the rest of the folks, so... But I was wondering if...
A lot of people are staying there. Where are they going to go?
A lot of folks ain't staying there. Most of them are coming along with. Moon is staying there at the moment, but Salinger's coming along with me, and so is Araya, and everybody else has moved on from the bunnies to the whole troop of Shalati's family. I think it's just a big place that doesn't need heating. But a lot of folk come there for food, so would you mind still running the free kitchen out of here, out of the dry iron?
Yeah, could do that. Is he okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Everything's fine. I'm just making sure that everything's all set, and that, that everything's taken care of just in case.
I've got some fresh mushroom porridge. Sal, do you want it?
Yeah.
I can't turn down mushroom porridge. I brought the full kitchen inventory for you. The maintenance is kind of self-explanatory. You mark here as things are used. You mark here as things are refilled. There's enough pages within it to make sure that everything stays orderly by the time we get back.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I don't mind helping out at all. It'd be nice to have some people.
Thanks.
Quick out of character thing. Didn't he get a replacement limb?
Yeah. He had recovered from his arm.
You still able to polish a glass and sling drinks with that thing?
It takes me a little longer, but...
They hardly need grace of the dry iron. Peach would look at Sal, kind of as the conversation dies down, and just say, "Thanks for coming with me. I was a little worried that what's his face would be around here. That
Grouchy old drudge. Sorry, dirge.
That's the one. I don't think he likes me very much, but I didn't really want to have what I thought might have been a tough conversation with. Any case, it was silly of me. I should have known that there's hardly enough folk here for there to be any trouble anyway."
Yeah, Larry kind of puzzled a bit as he's looking over the list and says, Dirge spends his time over at the temple and occasionally comes in with shipments of the winter food that's coming back and forth. Yeah, seems to have found a place there.
I'm good on it. Make sure to catch him when we get back to town.
Okay, well, tops the list with it's like a most like brass oak kind of hand. So I'll take care of this. You don't worry about it. You can travel safely if you're going to be gone long.
Yeah, don't worry about me. Or any of us. We'll all be fine.
And you better take care of this place. I can't even fit in my old stool anymore. He kind of scratches into the bottom of it where he carved something and years and years and years ago in his little.
And he kind of looks at you fondly for a moment, and then taps the list again with the clipboard and heads in the back.
Yeah, Peach would stir the soup a few times and then look up at Sal. I'm sorry for wasting your time. I didn't mean to drag you all the way out here with me.
It's not a waste.
Feels very stupid that I was too afraid to go on my own, someplace in my own town.
You had a bad experience. Things are different now. They won't keep changing. And if you don't finish that soup, it's one of my favorites.
She'll hand the bowl over to Sal.
At least some hours later, in the forests south of town, Kabeth, you reach the place that you had last seen Muna. There's a light snow coming down, but the place you expected it to be, the last place near where you had originally found the Orinoco's egg. There's not any direct sign of her. You look around and for fresh footprints or something like that, and you don't see anything.
She'd kind of sigh with frustration and look around. And she would run a perimeter around the broad area just to see if there's any sign of a lead.
Yeah, you spend some time looking pretty thoroughly, but you realize, she's not here right now, and hasn't been maybe for at least hours. Judging if you had to guess by the snowfall, maybe a day.
Okay, and is the active portal nearby?
Yeah, you head back to where you found that very first portal, one that leads to like a summary land, and you get there. It's still just there, hovering above the ground, edges of it crackling, and beyond it you can see green hills, and just directly around it, like the snow's kind of slushy, where it's been melted by the heat that comes through. But nothing unusual aside from its very existence.
Beth stands fairly close to the portal for a moment. And she just kind of looks through and she goes, "Must be nice." Then she runs back to town.
Let's see. Ray, I give us a little glimpse of what he's doing.
With a needle in one hand and a massive pile of extra fabric and cloth in the other, she's in the warehouse on the floor of it, surrounded by just piles of the warmest fabrics that she could find from the wreckage that wasn't needed in various houses that are no longer occupied. I know people are cold, it's winter time, but she's grabbed a few. The means to make some rudimentary snowshoes and whatnot off in the corner, and just at work to make warmth for everyone as much as possible, but also to make it, and just sewing and singing small maiden hymns as she goes, quietly working away in the warehouse.
Yes. Bit by bit, the pile of cloths and shoes grows. Casey, you finished preparations.
Oh. So, one logistical question. Being at the hearth, do I have a sense of whether I'd be able to attract the attention of the entire town from that location?
I mean, you potentially could, depending on what you did, but around dinner time, a large portion of the town would be there anyway.
Okay, good. Yeah. So, Casey moves into the center of the hearth there, and wheels his gong up to the side. It's like, all right, now to get everyone's attention, and he pulls out his short wand that he's used several times before, and kind of shakes out, cracks his neck, and fires 5 beams up into the air in a spread, and they shoot out and create a large burst of light and sound as he fires off his wand here.
Yeah, there's streaks and pops and then crackles. That's 5 bursts of light kind of draw people's attention. Have you waited to evening to do this, or is it during the day?
Yeah. Whenever evening time, when people were in the area,
Okay.
gathered as much as possible.
All right, so people's faces are illuminated by the multicolored flashes of light, and there's kind of people look your direction.
Yeah, in between blasts, he hits the gong and just making a large racket. And as people start to filter in to the hearth area, Casey stands in the center of the hearth, and the wind whips up around him, and he raises into the air, his hair blowing back, raises up about 5 or 6 feet into the air, and he lifts his hands up into the air, and a large fan of flames just comes out as he casts.
As he casts what? He cut off just damn.
Yeah, as he casts burning hands here.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So 15 feet into the air above him, and he's also
Yeah, you see people's eyes widen, looking around in confusion but interest. Last time we did this, there was a show.
Yeah, he's literally flying in the air as he's doing this, and he spins around as the people are kind of circling up, and is just smiling at everyone, and he slowly floats back down as everyone's gathering in, and kind of holds a moment as people gather around.
Yeah, so you can see that the people that were standing kind of around the hearth area, kind of where the old market used to be, they start kind of moving a bit closer. At first there was some apprehension and worry, like something terrible was going on, but then some murmurs go across, oh, it's Casey.
And he turns and kind of does a little jump up to the highest point of the hearth. I assume there's kind of like a section that kind of goes up a bit, and he stands up at that tall point, clears his throat, says, "Good folks of Shepherd's End, gather round, gather."
Oh, what's going on? Yeah, people gather.
Yeah. Good folks. As you may know, I'm Orthocles Feldspar Calcio, a good resident of Shepherd's End.
Woo!
Thanks, Doc. Our town has seen many a prodigious day these past several months. We've faced challenges and hardships that few have seen, let alone survived. But we've not only survived, we have prospered. From the attack of the slimes, that he kind of gestures to the building that was crushed by the giant bird slime that stood no chance whatsoever, to threats from water and beneath the earth itself. None have stood a chance against us. And now, an early winter has come and dusted our lands with an enduring frost. But it is no match for the endurance that we hold.
I think he's right.
I've gathered you all here to let you know that myself and some of the others will be leaving soon.
What do you mean? Where are they going?
There are others that face hardships as well and are not as well equipped as we are to handle them. So we're heading out to help the town. Muirwood or Mirkwood.
Well, they're going out there to help other people.
But I have no doubt you're gone. The town will be in good hands with all of you. You have the will and the strength to endure. And when we return, I have no doubt we will return
You said they're coming back.
to a town prospering and thriving through this winter and into the glorious days of spring.
Roll a charisma or persuasion check. Or deception, your choice. Performance, persuasion, or deception, your choice.
Wait, add a d6 to that. You get a bardic inspiration for being the best barrel candidate ever.
I can't roll deception because he believes every bit of it.
Okay, reasonable.
Yeah, I'll roll persuasion.
Beth looks very confused and skeptic throughout this entire thing. She's not convinced.
I'm trying to remember if I actually said that the winter would be never ending.
That and our dwindling food supplies, and also we're hoping to find more food from the other towns. We're actually just going to pirate another town.
Oh, the
Ooh.
26 persuasion. There's a
Plus 28.
Oh yeah, +2, 28. There's a brightening. It's when the faces in the crowd, and then the applause starts to spread out across them into thunderous clapping of hands, cheering.
Casey will fire off 2 more shots of his wand, which I believe expends all the charges.
What happens
So,
if you expend all the charges?
I'll roll a d20. If I get a 1.
Is the wand of pyrotechnics just a Roman candle, Isaac?
Yeah.
Nothing happens.
Does not explode.
Yeah, he sets off 2 more charges, and then snaps forward 2 more balls of fire, and it's just like, lets out a yell into the and he says, well, maybe he doesn't say anything else. Depends on how are they still cheering? What's going on?
Yeah, they're still with that 26. There's a loud, there's a loud din of cheering before people eventually start to kind of settle down, and you can see that the spirits seem brightened.
Yeah, he'll come down through the crowd as people are like clapping and stuff, and kind of just greet people and I remember you, and just kind of mill about the crowd a bit, kind of encouraging people face to face as he moves through.
Yeah, people are wishing you luck, and you see one of the dock workers who's become a guard. No, don't you worry. We'll take care of everything.
I have no doubt. Are the rest of you guys there too?
Yeah, any player characters want to be around.
Yeah, sure. In the crowd.
Yeah,
Yes. Thoroughly convinced.
Yeah, he'll move through, and like as he sees like Doc and Array, he'll give him a knowing nod and smile and kind of pat on his shoulder. Yeah.
You see like a group of the townspeople kind of starting to wander off after things have calmed down. Yeah, maybe things are getting better.
Yeah, he'll move by Araya and say,
She holds up a fabric to you before you can say anything, measuring kind of some stuff, but like not telling you. That's what she's doing. She's just like, it was really, yeah. I'm so glad that you have such high hopes in these dark times.
Dark times.
Well, brighter now.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at this town, and he kind of gestures to the people that are living. What? They've made it through so much, and are still strong.
It's true. Hopefully we can bring that strength to some others outside of town, right?
Yeah. No gods needed, huh? He gives her a pat on the shoulder.
I plan on bringing the maiden with me. How dare you assume that her mission doesn't take me to new places as well? Where the maiden walks, we will find light. I'm going to come up with so many proverbs, like...
I mean, there's light in so many places.
I see that you're beginning to understand.
All you need to do is look within yourself.
Mm-hmm. She lies within my deepest heart.
Are you the maiden?
Certainly not. I am, but her hand in this realm. She turns to go back.
You did not ask somebody that.
Although if somebody does ask you if you're a god, you should always say yes.
I mean, technically you are a maiden. That's not wrong.
The priest is maiden, yeah. I mean, semantics, yes.
I mean, how do you know you're not a god? Have you ever had to be one?
To assume that a god is such a simple and mortal thing such as myself, that would be, well...
How do you know you're mortal?
That that is true. We were discussing this and how we don't know that we die until we get there. I am nearly certain, though, that I am not made of such spectacular things.
Be surprised.
I've just seen so much greater than myself.
Most people don't fully know themselves, though. I mean, you've never...
Do you? How much
Well-
soul searching have you done, Casey?
I mean, it really has to do with, experiencing the most that you can. And
I do find more solace in the things that I deny myself, but I think...
how could, if you deny yourself things, how do you know who you are in those situations?
Well, but the
I mean-
sacrifice of that experience makes it more meaningful, don't you think?
I'm not sure how you can gain insight into yourself by not doing things.
Well, but if you meditate on that which is even more important than just yourself, you find yourself far closer to all the things that tie this universe together. It would be a pity to assume that one such as us is the greatest thing upon this plane, don't you think?
Perhaps, but to sell yourself short and to not find your own greatness is a tragedy in itself.
My maiden will lift me up, so I have no worries.
I'd love to meet this maiden of yours one day.
Well, we'll find a way to bring their presence back. All the gods, you see. Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it help?
No.
To bring all the gods back.
Or just the
Goodbye.
ones that would wish to help.
Beth is thinking about the mythology books she has read, if any.
You see, there actually are a great number that have a vested interest in the very simple and humble lives of their mortal followers. I think we just need to find a way to reach them so that they could hear us and understand the dire straits that we've found ourselves in.
I feel the gods of lore and religion to be fickle and largely absent.
Well, they
Rather,
did
just-
model us as a reflection of them.
but we are here and they're not. I feel like we can help ourselves.
I think you and I both believe that we can make a difference. And it is our core belief, really.
Casey thinks he can make a difference. You think you're just the vestige and being used by a god. So, like, those are...
Oh, I don't see the difference. Making myself a vessel for being greater than myself is possibly the highest calling I could have.
Right, but you're not making a difference. Your god is making a difference.
But to make myself that vessel, a means with which the divinity can touch this plane, don't you think that is worthwhile to create in myself a...
Hey, Rhea.
Yes.
If we're going away for a while and my family isn't going to be hanging out at my house and I can't leave the forge running, what happens to the thing that lives in my forge?
Do you think
What
you
lives
could
in your
invite
forge?
it? No, shush, Ava, this is beyond your mortal ken. So, do you think
my
that
gosh.
perhaps... Ava, you... I'm trying not to make it rude, but she's like...
It's fine. I know how
Now-
religious people get.
Now, what if you found a way to carry an eternal flame with you as you travel, and then invite the spirit of your forge, or a piece of it, along with you?
Beth, what's she talking
I
about?
mean, Casey, Casey, can you just be near me at all times?
Casey, can we light you a little bit on fire with some forge fire? No,
Just-
Kenneth, I feel that he is kind of barren ground for faith.
I mean, but like, what will I feed it?
Wood?
Just to put a bow on the thing before Casey takes Araya by the shoulders. I've seen what you can do, Araya. Great things. And even more to come.
Yes.
You don't need your maiden for that.
That is exactly the opposite of what is actually...
You set a whole room on fire without her.
I was hoping we could forget that.
Oh, I mean, it's really memorable. I don't see how I could possibly. Sorry, go ahead.
If you need help with the forge stuff, let me know. Casey is kind of moving through to greet other people and stuff. Yeah. We'll talk more later. Points at Araya. Talk more later.
Do you always feel frustrated? Like... existentially frustrated?
All the time.
Yeah.
Literally every moment of the day.
Oh shoot, I don't think I'm helping, am I? I really am trying though. I don't think that I am the right way to... You should try talking to your forge before we leave. Maybe some meditation.
Yeah, I gotta pack up my sisters anyways and take them over to Ez's place. But, yeah, tomorrow before I leave, I'll definitely offer it some toast. And she winks.
Your most coveted toast, though. Yes.
Yeah, the best toast in the house. Beth disappears.
Shalati. In the yard behind the mayor's house, Thedrian brings the wooden practice sword down with 3 fast heart strikes.
Sorry, I was a little bit unprepared. Shalati has taken part of the time while she was away gathering supplies and carts and checking the cart and making sure she was only bringing the strongest, apparently least virile animals. Seeing as there are as many things as she can have gotten done, she takes a moment now to head to the practice yard. Spots Thedrian there. Just gives him a nod if he happens to look her way. But then pulls out the halberd. Just the one that she had pulled from the train years and months ago, not the one that had been taken from the ruins. And says to Vithedrin, "It was occurring to me that we have not spurred against each other very much, although you have critiqued my technique occasionally, but at least not since you have fully healed up. I think it would be good to know what you are capable of now, and also to know what sorts of things we can expect you to be able to do, especially once we face down the necromancer."
Yeah, he says, sorry, I had skipped to that originally, but we'll engage it there. Yeah, he says, it's a good point. I haven't had much
We can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me? Can other people hear me?
I
sorry.
I can
We can
hear
hear
you.
While I was fumbling around, I turned on the mute.
Oh,
No.
Sorry for everyone.
Yeah, he says, he looks at you for a moment and says, it's a good point. I haven't had much opportunity to do any training since I've healed. I think that'd be a good idea.
She raises the halberd against him in a half salute, half offer.
I think. So you did you hear what I? No. Let me think. Can I get to that? Yeah, we'll say. Yeah, he picks up not the usual sword that he uses, but one of the swords. It seems kind of one that he trains with when you've seen him doing practices alone without sort of a partner. And it's yeah, it's kind of a heavier sword. Looks kind of dull on one end or on the edge. Yeah, he kind of hefts it a bit, swings it around, sort of testing the weight, and then levels a look at you. And, yeah, takes a testing, sort of lunge in against you in a swing of the sword.
She parries, steps back, flows around, strikes back with the butt of the halberd at his feet before swinging back around and a strike at the upper half. And she's just gonna essentially, we'll start off light. She's not pushing too hard, and just sort of sees where he takes it.
Yeah. When he begins, he's using the arm that's still his, and sort of in a very measured way, as is normal with the practice. The two of you, there's the clock of your blades as you can move about the yard. At some point, he starts to seem to be more relaxed, more curious about sort of testing his own limitations, and kind of as he spins for one attack, he switches his grip kind of to the arm that Esmond had made. And when your blades clack together, this one's much stronger. You can feel the vibration kind of go down your arm into your body, and it pushes you back a bit, scraping your heels against the earth.
A smile flickers across her face as she feels the strength in the arm and gets pushed back, and she pushes back forcefully in turn, half basically trying to lock blades with that arm and really seeing how much it gives or not.
Okay. I could do a little roll. Okay. Yeah, let's do an opposed athletics roll as the two of you kind of plant your feet, pushing against one another.
That's terrible.
So when you as the two of you are pressing against each other, you see the gears that are within the arm kind of begin to whir. And you can feel the arm almost becoming stronger. So 2 will be added to this roll. For a total of a 16. Yeah, and so Unless there are any changes. You can feel the strength of the arm is overwhelming. You feel your heels slide against the earth and you're pushed backwards.
With a slight snort, almost in amusement, she finally gives way and eels off to the side, to basically giving way beneath the force of the arm, like water flowing around behind, and will continue with this far, but gives him a nod in recognition of the strength of the arm and the work, and says laconically, "As Miss work is good."
Yeah. And sort of as you purposefully kind of collapse to let him, where a lesser trained person might stumble past you, he steps with kind of with practice and measured ease and swirls around to kind of meet you where you've turned back towards him. And he nods a bit, says, "Indeed, Clockwork Boy does good work," and then lunges in towards you again.
And I'm happy to let that just be their practice.
Out of character, so there was I think a little bit of dilemma regarding the llamas. So what I think Shalati would sort of determine here is that if you take the llamas that are ready to sort of haul the carts, that will, I'm assuming you would have plans to kind of breed them and kind of build the flock back up. If you take the llamas that are capable of hauling a fully loaded cart at this point, that would sort of disrupt those plans. So you're going to have to choose between having the ease of having those llamas and continuing sort of the breeding of the flock back in Shepherd's End.
Oh, Charlotte would 100% either swap that out for one of maybe no, I don't know. The sheep would actually be practical.
The sheep are kind of a little too unruly to kind of be cart bearers.
Maybe you can bring less rope.
What I would say is that most of the carts that you guys use to haul food back and forth between the temple and Shepherd's End are actually drawn. They're people, because you didn't have llamas when you began all that. So yeah, the carts that are intended to be pulled by people. But it would definitely be a benefit to have the llamas.
It would, if it would disrupt the. Is there a possibility to do like a half and half where she picks one of the older ones who's past their prime? Or maybe a female llama who's past their bearing age, and half the time uses that one to pull, and then she just pulls the cart half the time herself.
You could certainly try to do something like that. I just mean if you take the best ones, it'll disrupt that, so it might be a little slower. If there's whatever, if at some point, I don't even know that there will be. If at some point there's some test regarding the speed, or there's some trouble or something like that, the llamas that you would be taking are less capable than.
To clarify, we are specifically looking for the least virile llamas to take.
So you need to check their beards.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Least virile llama.
Sure. There are definitely llamas you can take in either case. I'm just saying that the best ones for the job would disrupt what you're doing, so you take lesser llamas.
Yes.
Lowercase L llamas.
Not L-Y llamas, but just llama with just a regular L.
Llamas.
Llamas.
Lame.
I mean, hopefully not lame, because that'd also be beside their pulling purpose.
Let's see, and then Esmond, you are carving the last rune into one of the bullets that you're making. This is kind of the dangerous part. This is where something could go wrong. And then as you're finishing off, but you realize it's just a knock on your door.
Okay. Push everything aside. Stand up slowly from the workbench. Go answer the door.
Charlotte.
Oh, it's me again.
Charlotte, hey, what's up?
I had some questions. Is this a bedtime?
It almost was, but we're all set.
Okay. And she will stick her head in the doorway, look around, and then follow the rest of the way in. But just finds a random seat off to the side, possibly a bench, sits down and kind of fidgets a little bit.
Everything all right?
Yes. The machines you make, or rather, I guess one machine you were able to make, that one that opens the hole to the other planes, to like with the portals. And you were also able to call back Zephyrus, and she glances around the name to see if she can spot the hummingbird.
If he's zipping around, he probably would have made himself over to you and is zipping specifically around you.
She smiles at Zephyrus and holds up a hand, finger to let him land if he wants, but goes back to looking at Esmond and says, I've been thinking about it ever since Seyfried and Ava went away and left behind only that little portal in the air. And they came back through another portal. But they were in a different place, not in any of the places that you could normally see through those portals. But there's some sort of relation between those ones that they're opening and that other place they found themselves. Do you think the thing that you made, it can go into that other one?
Esmond will move over, walk over to workbench and is just kind of mindlessly scrawling out some notes. And if you kind of peer over, you can see like it's a very rough drawing of the door jam device and just some additional notes to the side of it. This specific device, no, it is designed strictly to either expand the portals or close them entirely. But that is a thought I've had as well. I don't know if we want to open tears in the fabric of our plane, but wherever Ava and Seyfried went to, it was somewhere, to my best estimation, somewhere outside of whatever the two planes that existed in that moment were. I have thought about it, but I haven't had any time to dedicate to formulating, trying to implement whatever hypothesis that I might have. Yeah, it's my knowledge on interplanar travel, much less spatial tears, is incredibly limited based on the few available books that we have in town. And the door jam device is one that was built on a lot of hypothesis and hope, honestly.
I mean, it worked beautifully, so you did good work. I was just sparring against the Verdict earlier today, and his arm seemed to be doing very well too. So the work you do, even if it's guesses, you guess well. I know you haven't had time, but I'm just wondering if you think it's possible.
When I have more time, potentially when we're traveling, I want to. When we're traveling, I want to try and dedicate some downtime for myself to kind of throwing together formulas and calculations to see what could be potentially feasible. But a lot of what I'm hoping for, aside from the obvious people, supplies, anything that we can find in Mirrorwood, I'm hoping that they have a library or a teacher or somebody else that we can speak with, somebody more knowledgeable than anything I, in my limited knowledge, could ascertain. And maybe with that, a jumping off point to digging deeper into these tears, either in determining, if not their origin, then at least learning how to better not control them, but manipulate them, perhaps.
Isn't that the same thing?
In a way, yes. In the way that I'm specifically thinking about it, no. But either way, yes. I eventually do want to figure out these portals more.
That necromancer we're supposed to be meant to be hunting down, may have some information as well. It seems like this other place has to do with those who leave, those who pass on, even if it seems like they're not there anymore. Maybe that's that necromancer's fault, actually, now that I think about it.
I actually hadn't considered that. That's... Maybe we do have a reason to find this necromancer. I mean, it's been over 6 months since the Verdict received any clues about his necromancer, but I don't know, maybe anything is better than nothing, I suppose.
Right. And at worst, if it was a giant building-sized crab thing or whatever, I don't think it would be very interested in books, so hopefully any information is untouched and not used for nesting material. Or firewood.
Boy, I really hope so. That's... I could really use some more books. There's so much more that I can't figure out on my own at this moment.
You've done a lot already, I think. I think, as usual, you don't give yourself enough credit, but I suppose that is a matter for an ongoing issue of shoring up your self-esteem. And she's going to stand up and clap him on the shoulder, and we'll start to head out.
Just as Shalati claps her hand onto Esmond's shoulder, it's extremely loud. It goes woodenly throughout the interior of the workshop.
His shoulder echoes?
It seems that way. And then it happens again. There's a knock at the door.
For a second, she lifts her hand and looks at it and then looks at her shoulder. And then turns her head back toward the door and realizes what happened.
As Shalati turns towards the door, Esmond's just like, oh.
She glances back toward Esmond and says, "You have a lot of callers today, so I'll leave room for the next one on your calling card."
Okay, sure. I was almost done with my project, but yeah, people are important too, I guess. And Esmond will go and open the door to let Shalati out.
Ez, what? Oh, Shalati, yeah. Ez.
Casey? She's going to brush by and start walking out.
I just finished what Doc wanted me to do. You should have been there. He kind of points vaguely in Shalai's direction. Should have been there. Yeah, town knows that we're leaving. They're all good. I just wanted to see if you needed anything.
Yeah, I could hear it. I actually had Zephyrus watching everything. Reporting back to me, it sounded elaborate, which is fitting. No, we're all set here. And he looks in the direction that Shalati had left. Are you good? Is everything? Are you ready to go?
Yeah, I have all I might need, definitely.
Great. I'm just wrapping up this last bullet out. I'm gonna have to craft more on the road, but I figure with some downtime, it shouldn't take me terribly long to finish the remainder that I want to get together for Pythedrian. But I figure one more for the night and then get a full night's sleep for the first time in. I actually don't recall.
Yeah, no, it'd be good to rest up before we head out. It's going to be quite the adventure, I think.
Is it weird that I'm excited?
Well, not at all.
I don't know. I mean, I'm scared out of my mind, obviously, as well, but I don't know. It feels the idea of leaving town, as much as I hate the idea, also, I don't know. It also feels like weight is being lifted off. I guess I don't know. It's a weird sensation. I feel guilty, but also not at the same time.
Yeah, you don't need to worry about the town. They can take care of themselves.
I know. I need to believe that. I need to believe that they can. I know that they can. I just accepting that is proving more difficult than I care for.
We can take care of ourselves too, you know? I think you're starting to realize that.
Well, I can certainly help to watch over everybody else at the very least.
Yeah. He kind of glances back out the door and back to Esmond. Shalati all good?
Yeah, she's all set. She just had a couple questions, things that I had been thinking about myself. It doesn't have to be tonight, obviously. In fact, it'd probably be a bad idea, but I don't know what happened with you two. Things have been especially awkward, and you especially have been awkward in some instances, I've noticed, which is a feat all on its own, honestly, but it never hurts to apologize.
What, to Shalati? For
I mean,
what?
maybe.
What did she say? What did she say I did?
Nothing, Casey. It's... Really? Really?
Really? Really what?
Oh, buddy, come on. No. Like, even... No. Really?
Are you saying she's mad at me?
I'm saying that whatever is whatever awkwardness is between you two, it's better for you to own up to something that you most likely did and apologize. And
That is quite an assumption. I know Shalati has a lot going on. And, that puts a strain on things between me and her. But a lot of that has nothing to do with me.
all right, if you say so, I just want to make sure that everyone's going to be good. I want you especially to be good.
You're saying I should apologize to her.
Not if you don't know what you're apologizing for.
It'd be a lot easier if she'd heard that speech.
Something tells me I don't know if that would make it easier, but I don't know the specifics between you two, and I'm not going to ask. So it's kind of on you to sort out this specific puzzle.
I mean, she's been acting weird around everyone, though, not just me. Sal has seen it. I've talked to Sal about it. You think it has to do with me?
Then maybe she just needs somebody to talk to. I don't know. Just not advice, not encouragement, just an ear. I don't know. Look, all I'm saying is I've noticed that things are weirder between you two as of relatively recently. So that's all. I just want to make sure that you're both okay.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'll talk to her. But let me know if you need anything, as I'm gonna head out.
See you at the gate tomorrow.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, Beth. Your sailings have been dropped off. You've made it back to the forge.
Beth creaks the door open to the forge area. She kind of peeks her head in. She sees the glow of the embers burning. They're not super high right now. It's a gentle glow. A fire that hasn't been used too much today. She kind of looks around. Just the door behind her. Walks towards it. She kind of puts her hands on her hips, bends forward, and she's like, "Hey, so, I'm going out of town for a while, and, well, no one's gonna be here to feed you either coals or other things, and, well, I know that our relationship is new and just beginning, and we're just kind of feeling things out, but I feel bad leaving you behind, and I worry that if you go out completely, that our connection will be severed. There's gotta be some way to bring a little of the fire with me, but and fire doesn't hurt me the same way it used to since I got to know you better, but I still feel weird just I don't know, how am I gonna carry flame around?" She stands there and ponders. She's like, "Oh, maybe I should feed you and then you could talk to me." She looks around to make sure nobody's there. She knows her siblings aren't there. She's like, "I feel weird doing this without Araya." Oof. She pricks her finger and lets just a little bit of blood drop into the fire.
Yeah. What a red dot forms on the tip of your finger and then drips into the flames. it sizzles up, and there's sort of a drift of color through the flames, just a bit redder for a moment. And the irony scent of your burning blood. It's very subtle and small, but you immediately get that a sense of gravity just in the pit of your stomach. A strange feeling, like a hint of someone else being there. But now that you realize, as you feel this and you look at the flames, you realize now that you've had the context of what you felt when you went down into the tunnels. That what you felt here in the forge is like hearing people talking on the other side of a wall. Something that was spilling over here through the flames in your forge. But it came from somewhere else. And now that you've been closer, now that you're feeling this now, comparing those feelings, you do feel confident that whatever answer there is, you were closer to it when you went into the tunnels, when you stood on the bridge across from the priest and the kobolds. Whatever answer is, it's down there.
And to clarify, Chris, with my divine sense, I determined that if this is an evil thing or a good thing.
So the concepts of those abilities detect types of things, but the concept of like good or evil is there's not a strict detect a thing that is good or detect a thing that is evil, despite the name.
No, not by the standards of this. The way they start to word it makes it sound like it's going to be, and then it doesn't actually say that. Yeah, so it's not any of the types of things in that list then.
Yeah. No.
Okay. Beth kind of stands there and ponders, and she's like, well, I'm never going back down there, so I guess this is your only way through to the surface. It'd be weird to carry a box of burning fire around. I'll sleep on it. Maybe I'll make something to carry you in the morning, but if not, hopefully when you go out, we'll still have some kind of connection. Yeah. Beth kind of like slowly starts backing away. Like she doesn't like look away from it, but she just starts walking towards the door into the house, and she's like keeping one eye on like the burning coals, and she's like, yeah. She opens the door behind her and puts one foot through and like leaves her head. Shuts the door.
Sounds good. Let's see. Ava, are you around?
Yes, I am.
Nice. Ava and Charlotte.
Charlotte probably heads to the apothecary first, as she assumes she would be there. Ava would be there. Knocks on the door. Pokes her head in without actually waiting for an answer. To see if she's there.
Yeah, Ava's sort of probably just sitting quietly, like looking over a book or something. It seems like she was about to maybe drift off just for a little bit, and she sort of like wipes her eyes and stands up. Oh, hey, what's up? What's going on?
I had... Do you want any tea? And she's gonna go into the kitchen to make some tea without asking.
Yeah, she goes, yeah, it's where it usually is. It's, you know where it.
You hear her banging around in the kitchen, just going through the motions and etc.
Yeah, as she does that, she puts her marker in the book and sort of stands up, brushes her clothes off, and starts to make her way towards the kitchen so they can talk while Shalati is prepping tea.
She's coaxing the fire up in the stove and has filled it from whatever the water situation is. I just realized I don't know if we have indoor plumbing. It's kind of a steampunk kingdom, right? Let's just assume we have indoor plumbing.
Cannon.
And going through the ritual of pulling up the tea the tea leaves while it's heating up, and sort of pottering around, and she seems to have a little bit of a nervous energy to her as she's doing all of this. And there comes a point eventually when there's not really anything else she can do but wait for the water to finish boiling. And she stands over the stove, looking down at her hands, looking down at the slowly heating kettle, and says, "Is it that bad if the dead are good people who want to come back?"
Oh. Well, I don't. I don't think that's necessarily like a bad thing in and of itself. It's just that from what I understand, there's always a cost, and it's a lot. It's bad. I don't know what that is, but it's like the way I read a line about it once that sort of summed it up, and it was just that the gods are jealous entities. It's not an exact quote, but of all of them, the god of death is the most, and like taking something away from the god of death carries with it an enormous cost that's never worth the return of what you take from her.
I think the gods are still around.
I think so. It's just that we're lucky enough to have ignored them and left them alone, and you know, uh, been safer because of it. Like our whole kingdom is kind of flourished, and because we haven't allowed them back. Well, not like disallowed them, but without our, belief in them and attention towards them, it seems like the connection kind of fades until it's like they almost forget about us or something. And so we're overall kind of safer because historically, at least from, this is just, I don't know if it's true, but I mean, they say it's true that like the gods have like almost destroyed the world.
So,
On more,
but if they get power from being believed in and they are fade or stop noticing us because we don't believe in them, then why would it be dangerous to take something back from a god who is no longer being believed in?
I think it might get their attention.
But if they don't have strength, then that doesn't matter, does it?
Well, it's not that they don't have strength necessarily. I don't know. I'm not like religion was never the thing that I was as focused on. I know Sal's. Oh, the water's ready.
She jumps, having not realized, heard the piping, and moves to grab a cloth to pick up the kettle and brew the tea, etc., etc. And the next few minutes are taken up with that while she's listening intently to what Ava is saying.
So I don't. Okay, so again, this is all like Sal would know much better than I. There's so many. I think Beth's read so much more about stuff than I have, but I kind of just had the one thing. But from what I understand, there's the gods. It's not like they don't draw power. It's not that they're like ineffectual. If we're like our world's not worshipping them, it's just again like they don't have a presence, because something that Areo was saying about being a vessel, it's like the majority of their actions or their desires are amplified by having willing individuals on this world to sort of like manifest what it is that they want. But I mean, I guess it does contradict maybe, and maybe it would be okay, but I don't know. The whole reason I think it's such a big deal is because there's always something really bad that's supposed to happen if you bring something back. Like I mean, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but like I did it once on accident.
She drops the tea she was about to fill, like the teacup she was about to fill, and goes, "Oh, wait, what?"
Well, I didn't mean to. Like, there was just it was there was during like a birth of one of the cattle, and it didn't, like, it just kind of started to fade, and like I could see the essence of what it was, like a little light that started to move away from this world and again to the next. And then I didn't really think about it. I just kind of reached out and I pulled it back. And Teridian he was horrified, and he slit its throat immediately and said that I should never tell anybody and I should never do that again.
Charlotte is sucking the burn that's on her hand while she's mopping up the spill.
Oh, I can fix that. But she snaps her fingers at your face. It's fine. Sorry, but
and Charlotte, you actually, I think you, thinking back, you remember that was one of the animals that was lost near your ranch.
Is that the one 3 years ago? During that really hard winter?
Yeah.
I wondered. That did seem strange. That lamb had clearly had its throat cut, but I didn't think anything. Maybe sometimes it was a more merciful death than to, be strangled by the birthing cord or whatnot. But
no, that was what he did, because I wasn't supposed to do that, and I don't think that he, I definitely trusted him to, be honest, and he's smart, so I don't, I think it is bad, but just based on what there's.
But it hadn't even gone by that point, right? You said it was fading.
Yeah, it wasn't that I brought it back so much as I just stopped it from leaving, which is different. Like, okay, so I may as well tell you, it was technically necromancy, but like, that was just, it was unintentional, right? But it's not that magic only does that one thing of bringing things back, which I don't actually know how to do. But you can also stop stuff from leaving, like in the same way. You can also do it with like traditional medicines. That's why I figure it's maybe not as bad as some. I want to think that it's not maybe as horrible as people say, like the whole school of magic. But anyway, I did that.
It does seem weird. Why would it be? If the outcome is the same, then why does it matter what tools you use?
I don't know, but I'm really. Who am I gonna ask? And like, it's, you can't. I don't want to say anything around the verdict because he's like, I don't think he would just be
sort of single-minded.
Yeah, I don't know how he'd react. So I don't think it's all bad, but like, I don't know. Anyway, that's not your question. From what I understand, if you bring even if they want to come back, if you do something to try to, like, cheat death or whatever, like, then something bad happens after that. That's all I know. So I don't really know what to tell you in terms of it being bad. I just think there's supposed to be a pretty horrible cost.
Just for a moment, as you're talking with Shalati, Ava, you remember back one of the very first conversations that you had with Thedrin. You can remember the firelight from the campfire on his face. You remember the way his eyes changed just a bit, becoming harder and more distant as he said the words, "Long live the Queen, for the dead must never rise." And there was a coldness in his eyes, but also a sorrow, a hardness of a soldier about to go into battle.
Her eyes sort of drift to the side, and she goes quiet as she recalls this. And it's pausing, and not saying anything. Yeah. I don't think I should tell the verdict.
I agree on that aspect at least. And if he ever starts acting squirrely toward you, tell me.
Oh, you're gonna take on a verdict for me?
Yes.
Oh. Well. Thanks, yeah.
I actually also... I was talking with Salinger, and he's suggested I talk to you because, well, I sort of honestly forgot about it in between everything else, and he said that you were the doctor and maybe, but I mean, aside from all that, also, I just haven't. It's been a lot, and I haven't really mentioned a lot of it. But then I realized that by not telling anyone, just doing things, I was sort of acting like my mother, and I don't want to do that. The way that she just left and didn't tell anyone anything until she was back, and said it wouldn't be like that, but now I find I'm sort of doing that too. But anyway, so I started saying things, and then they showed up around me, and I think that related somehow to how the deep lurker touched my brain. And it, I did tell you that it took my memories, I think, but I think it left something there too.
As she's listening, she hears this, and when she understands the nature of what you're saying, she kind of shuffles a little bit and straightens her clothes, and tries to stand up a little bit straight, and she says, "Wow, no, that's a lot. I think you're right. Trying to talk about it might be helpful, and absolutely, let's get the tea and we can sit down and, just I can be ears for you, and we'll work through some stuff."
Well, I don't know that if there's too much that you can actually do about it. It's more just
It's not about
unless you know it.
Yeah, it's not about that. It's not about fixing it. It's just about you taking the time to let go of some of it, and you're not going to do that unless you share some of it.
Well, so, and she pours out a cup of tea. Or brings the tea kettle and the teacups over to the kitchen table and pours them out and pushes one across the table to Eva. So when I talk to it, it's spoke into my head directly, and I think some parts of it remain behind, maybe. Like when she pushes through with a bramble patch and leaves bits of its wool behind, because bits of it get caught. It sort of feels like that almost, at least as far as I can make sense of it. And I was seeing some of the images that I saw of serpents from that unfathomable ocean from another place in the walls around me. And then in the last fight, I don't know if you remember, it was chaotic and dark, but when I started focusing and when I fight, I sort of lose track of other things that are going on. I just become intent on one thing and one thing only. And in that time, it was like my senses sort of expanded almost. And then with that feeling, those things that I had been seeing showed up in a sort of, let me see if I can. And then she thinks about it, and then she drops down to the ground, does some push-ups, stands up, kip ups to her feet, does some punches, and then just like smacks herself in the face, and sort of settles into a stance, and her head going down and breathing extremely steadily, and her eyes going wide as she rages. The spectral serpents in the waves, the smell of salt in the air begins to rise. There's a faint sound of waves and perhaps calls, and these enormous scaly serpents writhe up around her, lashing around. Almost as one of them drifts into her peripheral vision, she startles, and all the images, in the sense, dissipate.
And were
Her,
those things that Ava could see and experience?
yes, yes. Essentially, this was her. Yeah, her eyes had glowed aquatic blue-green, as the serpents came into being. Spectral and ghostly, you could see through them to the other wall, but clearly they're lined with the same sort of light. But they vanish as she startles out of the moment. She looks at where one of them had been, and then fast forward and says, like that. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see it. Wow.
And then when we went back, when I went under the water, I could see so many similar things, not those exact ones, but like they were enormous creatures that sort of looked like the bigger versions of those things that you find in rocks sometimes. You know, when they wash up and there's like bones embedded in them. Things sort of like that, but not just bones. They had flesh, and they were all around, but it didn't seem like anyone could see them. And then on top of that, I mean, I kind of put it to the side because there wasn't any point to it at the moment, but on the way back, I think I saw. I mean, it doesn't. Yeah,
Go on. She takes her hands.
I saw someone who looked like me, and I could. She was by the fire, and I pulled her around. I thought it was someone from Shepherd's End who'd come after us, maybe, but it was me. But it wasn't me. It looked like Tala, except Tala, not like she was our age, like she had still been alive, except she didn't answer me, which is not like her at all. And so I thought maybe she was trying to come back here. Except this Salinger was awake then, but he didn't see her. But I could feel her. She was in her hands. In Ava's grip sort of flexes.
she respond in any way? She...
No. I looked away, took my hand off for a moment, and when I looked back, she was gone.
See. She just sort of grips her hands a little bit. All right. Well, I don't know I have any answers, obviously, and that wasn't anything that we were looking for right now, but we'll figure this out and, take it one step at a time. And if this happens again, anytime it happens, just let me know, and I'm gonna keep track of this, and if you'll watch my back and make sure that the verdict doesn't act too funny, I've got yours in whatever this is. And yeah, it'll be whatever it is. We'll figure it out. We'll work it out. Okay?
Okay.
I don't know if we have time before we leave, but we can do a couple more tests maybe in the morning. Just things to look at maybe before we get back. I don't expect to find anything, but yeah, what's most important is just keep noting these things and share whenever you can, and yeah. Do you wanna do like a sleepover tonight before we head out?
Just us, or do you want to invite some of the other girls too?
We can invite whoever you want.
Yeah, let's do that. Well, maybe. Do you want to do it here, or I don't know if half the fun would be doing it at your old place and then telling Lily to go away.
Oh, yeah. Well, if we do it, we'd have to invite Lily too, otherwise she would get really jealous and be upset probably, and I wouldn't want her leave like that anyway. But yeah, we can either choose wherever you want, and if it's my place and you want to do it like we used to, we can do that, and just go grab whoever you want, and we can tell some stories and maybe lose a little sleep.
That sounds wonderful. And she's going to give Eva a hug and says, I will go around and see who wants to join in. Maybe Kibeth.
Okay, great. I'll wrap up here, and I'll see you in just a bit, okay?
See you. So, she walks out.
Chris, if I'm ever supposed to be in the doctor mode, you gotta warn me ahead of time. I'm terrible at that. I don't...
Did great.
Can't ad-lib.
Catch him off guard. That's when he's best.
No.
Oh, that was an awesome scene. Oh, I had to go camera off because I just wanted to keep smirking every time you said necromancer.
That was great. Okay.
All right. So the next morning, Snow.
Slumber party.
Do a flashback to slumber party.
Yeah, we'll flashback to slumber.
I'm ready to leave town. Let's do this. Let's get out of here.
Yeah. Fresh morning snow is coming down across the town. The sky is gray, thick with clouds. Gathered at the southern gate is not the cart, but some of the lesser llamas, the lowercase L. It's a cart full of supplies. And this little bit here might be a little bit blend out of character and in character, but I need to, I guess, have some idea of kind of what you guys are bringing and stuff like that, the cart can support a maximum of 1,000 pounds. You guys, of course, probably need food and water. Some of you may have abilities that help you scavenge on the road. Some of you may have things that sort of interact or inform this. But yeah, no, I mean, I guess talk a little bit, maybe out of character and figure out kind of what you guys are bringing, if it's anything unusual or unexpected, or so that you have some idea of what you have, and so that I have some idea of what you have.
I mean, I just figured we were bringing enough food for at least 2 weeks, and then plenty of blankets and extra clothes and stuff for additional warmth, or if we, get caught out in rain or water or something.
I made
Yeah.
us the most snuggly of snuggies.
I think that I would argue that our cart going out is not going to be fully laden because we're hoping to bring stuff back with us, or people or things. So like, I think like we're going to eat a lot of the food stores going there, and we will have some stuff for return. But I feel like expendables is primarily the majority of what the cart should be, and we should try to carry whatever other gear we normally would have, right?
And yeah, between Peach and Esmond as well, they both have a bag of holding, so additional stuff can go into either of those that we don't necessarily want on the cart.
Yeah.
You might need to bring fodder for the animals too.
That's not something I have the brain power to figure out right now, to be honest. I'm not great at the math part of the D&Ding.
Well, how many bodies should we bring to sate the necromancer? 5?
Well, we need bodies for the necromancer. We need bodies for the flame that Kubeth is carrying. So,
I mean, we can forage some of those sacrifices on the road.
Easy. We'll go. We'll just, treat it like a sport. Whoever can bring back the most corpses wins.
But as far as Casey, he doesn't have a whole lot of gear. So yeah, I think weather-related stuff and food and water would be the thing to carry on the cart.
Yeah, it'd probably be barrels of water that I imagine would be the majority of the weight for the cart, right? Because we can carry food.
I mean, Chris, there's snow on the ground, right? In theory, we have water sources on the road too.
There has been snow on the ground for sure.
I also have a rain catcher, which I guess would be a snow catcher this time of year. But
Okay.
Does anyone Is anyone bringing any other large objects?
Not that I can't already carry.
Well, we need tents and stuff, right? A ladder might actually be good. But yeah, some kind of shelter for people.
Yeah, so we'll need.
Salate is not.
Well, we need food, water, clothes, and 2 to 3 tents, 2 to 4 tents, maybe, in case we lose any along the way.
Maybe like a couple extra wagon wheels.
I was just thinking Oregon Trail supplies. Yeah, wagon tongues.
We need a yoke.
Those are the hardest things to fix on the road.
It is a bit like that. It's a little bit like your Oregon Trail prep.
All right, let's bring the banker. Let's start with them.
Well,
we also need like some vaccines or anti-dysentery tablets.
Araya doesn't believe in those.
Does anyone have a way to fix a cartwheel?
Yes.
I mean, I'm
His
good
name is Esmond.
Yeah, we have 2 people who are capable of building things, at least in some capacity. So.
Okay, so
what kind of tool would that require? Actually, no. You know what? Never mind. We're good. Actually,
carpenters, I think.
Yeah, it's fine.
Carpenter
we got it.
or woodworker.
As long as Esmond has one of his items, we're set for tools. We are good.
That's right.
Ez just has a Swiss Army knife of all tools.
No, it's his fingers. His
Swiss
Army fingers.
Yeah.
I knew he has go-go gadget hands.
Ava brings a herbalism kit and a healer's kit. They weigh about 20 pounds. I think. I don't want to do the math on it.
Yeah, Esmond's not bringing anything personal aside from the materials needed to finish projects on the road, and his general armor sets, and the notebooks, but those don't really weigh anything for just like general note-taking, hypotheses and calculations and stuff. But, bag of holding.
Oh, I need to pick up a shield before we leave, otherwise...
Mm-hmm, it's true. And then I think on the second day that's finished.
Some traps, like animal traps, etc., would be good too for hunting along the way.
Okay, so what do you need from us, GM? Because we're just naming a bunch of things that we need, but like we don't know like number wise what you're wanting from us.
Well, I think the ultra specifics of like the numbers and weight we can kind of do throughout the week. But if in terms of, hey, we definitely need one of these items, we need this type of item, this types of things, let's have some discussion about kind of what you're actually bringing. So it's not like, oh yeah, we definitely would have brought a 10-foot ladder, but no one actually thought to do that. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Okay, so I mean, specific things are food, water, tents, additional clothes and blankets,
Do we have a
extra
bow
wagon
and
wheels.
arrows or crossbows and arrows and stuff like that?
We'd have some additional empty dry food storage or curing kits, like a specialized mess kit for foraging stuff while we're on the way, because it's such a long trip. Like a dry box for mushrooms, stuff like that.
I think.
Yeah.
Because I think Charlotte always brings fishing stuff with her, but like a fishing line and hook. So she'll have that anyway.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, I have like my personal list of like adventure gear that I click on when we're adventuring, so I know I'm carrying that stuff. Do you need to know, like, I have rope, I have a lantern, I have a mess kit? Like, is that just hand waveable enough at this point?
Not hand waveable once you guys are out of town on the road. Because here in Shepherd's Zone, you just have access to everything. So, like, if you're bringing specific things, yeah, definitely let us know so we know what you guys have.
Well, I mean, I can drop you a list in my private channel of the stuff that I know that I'm bringing, so I don't have to list it all out loud. I mean, I assume we all are carrying similar things.
I think in this case, what I'm talking about is visible things that go in the cart that would be public information, stuff like
I think basically anything that has to do with hunting. So traps, rope, maybe some stakes, bow and arrows, stuff for foraging and hunting down food along the way. And Charlotte would insist on bringing more rope, of course. This is just something that might be useful, but there might be also some, in terms of ruins, but like a block and tackle and pulley for if we get to a place and need to hoist up ruins and whatnot.
Okay, so list includes food, water, extra wagon wheels, blankets, extra clothes, tents, bows, arrows, crossbows, additional rope,
cooking utensils,
some kind of rope pulley system. Do we need anything else?
How do we, with the water we're carrying, I know from my like personal water skin, I'm hoping that I can just keep it near my body in this little pouch to keep it not frozen, but how do people travel with water to make it not freeze? I don't know the answer to that.
Casey is on water duty.
Just hugs the barrel.
We just stir it every so often.
Well, the insulated container would work in reverse too, right? So I guess if it's wrapped in leather, it wouldn't get as cold as the outside. So it shouldn't freeze solid.
I mean, I can unfreeze it if need be.
Okay. It's not a matter of just freezing it, unfreezing it. I'm thinking about the expansion portion of it where you put it in a container and then it cracks open because it gets too big and then you thaw it out. Yeah.
The exploding beer bottle in everybody's freezer that we've all had.
Just leave some space at the top.
Does that work? I guess that would work.
Yeah.
Cool.
I guess I need to clarify Poppy's coming with. I'm not leaving her behind.
Oh, extra food.
No extra foraging potential.
Well, no, we have to bring extra food. I didn't mean to suggest that we were going to eat Poppy.
That is exactly what I heard. I got very defensive.
Should we bring manacles for the necromancer?
Thought we just had a Verdict's rifle for them.
It could be a woman. You don't know.
That's true.
Presumably, the verdict already has some kind of means of apprehending and encasing the necromancer. So I don't think we need to necessarily bring manacles.
Or
I mean,
womanacles.
Do we have our maps of the area as well?
Oh, basic tools, just like a couple shovels or something, like some basic
definitely.
tools for helping out at the other place, like if their village is in rough shape.
Okay, so
Crowbar, hammer, miner's pick.
yeah, so just general basic tools as well. Okay, and anything else?
10-foot pole, iron pot. pack of playing cards.
Should we bring the cow?
Portable ram.
No. Not the
We
only
might get a ram, you never know.
We have one.
That's true. She is also very fast, so she can build it quite ahead of steam.
We also have the expendable llamas, so if it gets desperate.
Ooh.
Hey, you should definitely tell them that in their ear while they're pulling our stuff.
Motivation.
I'll bring some spare tinker's tools that I've got.
I can't think of anything else.
All right, that sounds good. Can't wait till we're a day out and Chris is like, "You didn't bring any of this." We're like, "God damn it!"
We'll see.
Oh,
Great.
snowshoes? Do we have anything for making our way over snow?
I
Array
think
is
that was one of the
up to
things that
you.
Array was getting or throwing together.
Or like, yeah,
Basically.
are we doing
I got
sleds or
egg-
wagon wheels carts?
Well, I don't know about the wagon. The wagon was not my responsibility, but I got snowshoes.
yeah,
Not great, but they exist.
Yeah, Aria's made snowshoes for you guys. The wagon currently has regular wheels on it.
With the basic tools we brought and carpentry knowledge, we can convert it into a sled in a pinch if we have to.
Does anyone have carpentry knowledge?
There's
I mean,
clockwork stuff. There's framing, basic framing.
Okay, all right.
I mean, we can make an attempt at it, right? Even if we don't have proficiency.
So table talk. I have an item that I can essentially convert into any kind of tool that I want or need, given an hour or so, and I am proficient in using that tool.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't mean we have the knowledge to back that up, though. So, like, none of us are carpenters, so I guess we couldn't do that conversion.
I like that Esmond can't put on like sled legs, but he could actually, if given enough time, put mech legs on the thing so it just walks by itself.
I will make you the best goddamn sled ever. I just don't know how to put it together.
It's a mechanical sled, and so it goes like, choo.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like, realistically speaking, Charlotte must have had some experience in doing carpentry and like making fences and stuff, but she's just not proficient with the tools, so to speak.
I will say also, if it comes to it, I've got levitate. You know, I can pick up to 500 pounds. So if things get kind of hinky on the way, like can move stuff off the wagon into the bags of holding.
So we should bring the
and then
cow.
10 minutes to just kind of drag it along without any friction or us slowing down.
You can barely levitate a cow.
I was going to say, is the wagon 400 pounds by itself without anything in it?
I'm not sure. I have to look that up. But
Casey does place a large white sheet into the cart as well.
Smart. Are you turning us into unwilling KKK members?
It could be ghosts.
I wasn't crazy. The average cow weighs 750 pounds. You can't levitate a cow.
Oh my gosh.
Some of it.
It's
You
not
can probably
11.
levitate a llama, I think, because they're
Right.
lighter.
Yeah,
It's
they're
not. It's not 11 KKK members. It's one KKK member with 11 heads. Much worse.
Oh, one ghost who used to be in the KKK.
It's better they're a ghost.
All right. That's pretty exhaustive, right? We covered. We spent a few nights.
And it will definitely go wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, just so they have some idea of what's there. And specific numbers and weight we'll figure out later.
I do also have just my personal adventuring gear, like Quebec. So.
Yeah, I mean, I can see your guys' character sheets. So.
Yeah, okay.
You can see my stuff?
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so there at the southern gate, the cart laden with supplies, light snow coming down. You hear the clunk of Fifth Edrian joins your group, and he's got on the thicker, heavier woolen cloak. You can see the shoulder butt of the rifle extended out across the back of his shoulder, the sword the other way. There's a heavy pack on his back as well. Yeah, you see the variety of faces of townspeople, guards up on the walls, peering down at you as the gears of the southern gate crank and open up. Yeah, and as the llamas kind of shake their heads and throw some snow off, you begin to head out to the south toward the train tracks, lead to the south and then curve to the west, heading to the town of Merewood. For the first time in a long time, if ever, you begin to leave the town of Shepherd's End. I suspect you'll be back, but that's how long you'll be gone. As you guys glance back towards the town, any lots of words before you're gone?
No.
One more step, and this will be the farthest we've ever been from town.
Flash back to sleepover.
We could spend 3 sessions on that sleepover, man. We could.
Rig
We'll
up a
save
hot
that
tub.
for a hot tub episode. In fact,
Yeah.
we should just run that as the session that Chris can't run.
Yeah, just hang out in the hot tub. That sounds.
Everybody just casually sleeps over in character. That sounds cute, actually.
Yeah.
Wasn't there that? What was that
Because-
one gathering area that the kids had? Was it near the ruins, or
Yeah, it
where
was right
people
above
just
the
sort of
ruins.
normally?
Beth
Maybe
has
not so
an
much
empty
good
house
news.
though, free of siblings, empty house, stocked kitchen.
Yeah,
No parents around.
the old hangout was the
Oh.
place that Casey blew up at the time.
Yes. It's gone.
Simpler times. Back when we were running
Allegedly.
across hot coals for fun.
Chris, do you want to just send me the stuff about the shield, and I'll just flavor it or something?
Oh, the
Just want to
statistics.
taste the shield.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
We probably should have just seen about it, but you can reveal it kind of maybe at some point when you're using it.
Okay.
Flashback.
Yeah, but also Kabeth was the one that designed it, if I recall. Yeah, we'll figure something out.
Okay.
Yeah. You have been on the road for 2 days. It is slow going with the snow and the unkept nature of the paths that line either side of the railroad tracks. Even on the first day, you could already see damage on the tracks themselves that the earth shakes had done. You realize a train or a hand cart wouldn't have been able to make it all the way anyway. The snow isn't so bad that you would consider it worth it to try to convert the cart yet into a sled or something like that. But you make your first camp. you're able to drink some of the water you've brought, and you test out, melting down the snow to up on your supplies. It seems to work pretty well. It does take time, but it's you feel confident that as long as the snow stays this heavy, that in a pinch you won't run out of water. Food feels plentiful, and Kebeth, you feel more than ever as you sort of count your supplies, the quantity of your appetite. It's evening, still early evening, as you guys are making your way. Vithedrian at some point had been talking, important information, probably to share along the way. Yeah. And so he's in the midst of talking, and the reports the necromancer's appearance suspect she had passed through the town week or some weeks before I had arrived in Mirwood, before I had time to finish my investigation. It's when the creature attacked. And after making our way east to Shepherd's End, you know the rest from there. It's been months since then, so we can only suspect that there will merely be clues where the necromancer might have gone from Mirwood itself. One detail that I do know is that the earliest reports came from a small village just a day north of Mirwood itself. And that'll probably be worth having a look at before we leave. I can't claim to know what the state of the town will be now with the beast having attacked. But it was a tremendous creature. And that was its armor able to deflect my weapons. Helping the people to escape to Shepherd's End was the best course of action at the time. It's as he's in the midst of talking, who is more than likely at the head of this group? Keeping an eye on what's in the front. Who's in the back?
Peach is dilly-dallying in the back.
Charlotte is either front or back. One of the guard positions.
Firmly in the cowardly middle.
I'm trying. I can't determine if Esmond would want to be in the front or the back. Esmond would be near the front, near Vithedrian. I'm assuming is where he would be.
He's in the back.
If you are one,
It has to be in the front.
What would Vithedrian be in the front, maybe?
Vithedrian would probably be near the front. If you're one of the people that you think is near the front of the group, roll a perception check, and keep in mind that this is at night. So if you don't have dark vision, it is disadvantaged.
Oh, and GM, on the first day of travel, or maybe the next, Esmond would have given 5 arcane bullets to Vithedrian. I don't know if you want to do a scene about that, but for your reference.
Okay. Yeah. We do a little scene about it.
All right, 4 have gone. I'll be 5th. Do you want to go? Do you want 5 people or just the top 4?
Yeah, you can go ahead and roll.
I think I'm gonna beat. Nope. Mask is in the way.
Yeah. Let's actually say it's yeah, actually Esmond, something catches your eye, a bit of movement, unlike the simple swaying of the trees and the brush up ahead of you on the road. or actually, there are two small trails that are on either side of the train tracks themselves, and you catch a bit of movement up there.
Kind of motion to Verdict a couple feet away and try to get his attention, just whisper, something a bit ahead of us.
Yeah, he pauses a bit, and he's already started to kind of slow down, and his voice trails off just as you begin to say that, and he says, I see it too. And those who might be paying attention, there's a brief flash of light around the edge of the Verdict's irises. And you see a kind of scowl go across his face. Esmond, you're able to pick up, are able to see a little bit of the shape that's up ahead of you, and the others who are there, with Esmond pointing it out, you see it as well. It seems to be a person, but something maybe is wrong with them. They walk with a stumbling limp, and they seem maybe disoriented, just wandering on the railroad tracks.
Sir, I think they might be hurt. They're stumbling. They're not. They have an odd gait to them.
Yeah. Thedrian's voice is hard as he says, No, they're not. And you see on the railroad tracks, kind of coming close enough that it starts to spill into your lantern light, you see the slightly stumbling, shambling walk of a creature. Looks a lot like a person, but a person that is dead. Just one. They're on the road by itself. You realize you're only 2 days away from Shepherd's End. Oh, Charlotte, where's it?
What's the cultural knowledge of undead?
You've never seen them before, but you have heard. It's the scary tale, that gets told. The warnings against necromancy itself that maybe you'd heard from Gilgain, that there is a type of magic in the world that is evil in its nature, and from it the dead can rise from their graves. There's nothing good that comes from it, and it brought great sorrow into the world long ago.
You keep describing it as a person. Are we able to make out a lineage or a race from this distance yet? Or is it just a boring, gross human?
There's so much from this distance. There's so much decay, kind of on the body itself. There are portions of bone that are exposed. It's tattered clothes, steps forward. But you're able to see it clearly at the edge of the firelight.
Esmond full on just comes to a complete stop in his tracks.
What? Is that what I think it is?
I think so.
You see
Casey.
Good.
You hear Casey snap his fingers and a ball of fire erupts in his hand. He starts to move forward.
You see Thedrian kind of glances back and forth for a moment. He says, looks like it's alone.
Not for long.
What are we gonna do?
Casey hurls the ball of fire.
What'd you say, Casey?
Casey hurls the ball of fire at it.
All right, making it.
Ooh.
I'm so excited.
So, that's a 1 on the die, but
Mm-hmm.
hold, please.
You know, despite everything, I think Casey's actually the person that's rolled the most natural ones this campaign so far. He just keeps getting a chance to not.
So many lies. So many lies, and that's it.
I think it's just Casey's had the most rolls so far, right?
Hey, that damage was pretty
Sure.
good, though.
Yeah.
See if you can pull it off.
Also, this is like a janky zombie, okay? When Vanya brought Rue back, Rue was fine. Everybody remember he was really fine. He came back
And
normal.
He staggered around a lot.
Then.
This could be the long-term effects of that.
Oh my god.
Oh no, if it's a Rue-shaped zombie, it would be so sad.
If it's a Rue-shaped zombie, we should run.
That was before Vanya was touched by the suffering.
I know, the suffering is not good times, yo.
Oh, who says she's touched by the suffering? You all saw her resist that on the beach. My girl's got strength of character.
All right, that's a 9 to hit. Does that stand?
Come on, Casey. Come on.
He's got to fail one time.
He's lucky, though.
Yeah.
Never fail.
Hey,
23.
23 hits, yeah. So this
17 fire damage.
17 fire damage. Tell me a story, Casey.
Yeah. Casey moves forward, and the fire kind of flickers in his hand and goes out for a moment, and he snaps 3 more times, and then it erupts again, and he just throws it forward, and as it arcs across the ground, the snow underneath it melts a trail to the creature, and it lands right mid-torso where his heart used to be, and kind of erupts, flames bursting into its rib cage and up, and it opens its mouth and lets out and you can see the light from the fire shining up through its mouth and out its nose, and its eyes kind of melt out of its head as it falls face forward and just crackles there in the snow and dirt.
Steam hisses and rises up as some of the snow that it lands in begins to melt. Just like that, it's down on the ground, kind of kindling embers for its remains of its flesh are burning. You see it sort of twitch and move as though still, even after so much damage, trying to stand, but then goes still.
Charlotte has her halberd out, and she's looking around, trying to see if there are any others in the darkness beyond the road.
Yeah, as you look around, scanning, you don't see anything, and Thedrian looks around as well, says, "So far from Mirwood, so close to Shepherd's End, just the one, but
Why is it so close to here? If there's one here, are there more? Do we need to go back and tell everyone and prepare them?
Maybe we should go back.
It seems that Mirwood needs us, though.
But so does Shepherd's End if they don't know that it's coming.
But if the threat... We're in between the threat and Shepherd's End.
Send me. I'm fast. I can also leave some of my equipment with you. I mean, with my speed, I can go back and warn them and be back. Catch up with you.
No, I don't know if there's any need for us to warn them. They're already on alert since we've left, and we've secured the borders of the town as much as we can with the supplies that we have on hand. Turning back around now would just delay us. And sending you alone, Kibeth, that if there are more of these things around that we've missed, that could just put you in additional danger unnecessarily.
The Thedrian walks forward until he's standing over the remains of the creature. Crouches down. Kind of picks a stick from the ground, reaches out, and presses the thing, and half turns it over a bit. Says, it's very seldom you see just one of these creatures. It must have wandered a long way to be here by itself.
You said it was walking along the train tracks, GM?
It was definitely in that area. When you saw it, it was sort of wandering across the tracks. And so it just stopped when it saw you. It turned towards you.
Are
I
we
think
able to,
Charlotte's. Oh, sorry, go on.
I was gonna ask, can we see the trail of its trail that it left behind, stumbling?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it kind of wanders in from, just off the road a little bit. You can see that the steps are close together. It wasn't moving quickly.
Would it be worth diverting our travel a little bit to follow this trail and find more? Prevent them from getting closer to Shepherd's End?
If we wander off, like, we can't take the cart with us through the woods, right?
Well, we should scout around. I mean, if there might be more close by.
15 minutes out, 15 minutes back.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, for all we know, this necromancer is in the woods laughing at us. We could.
The
we could be real close
necromancer
by.
has
We
to
need
stay
look.
close by?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know necromancy from anything, but
Do they just raise them and set them free, or
stop
is it
asking me
the
these
puppet
questions.
master?
I know
No,
less about
ask me what
necromancy than
right.
anybody. I only plan to live one life, Araya.
Yeah. After a moment, Vivedrian says, the magic that created this creature can very well persist for quite a long time. Its presence here doesn't necessarily mean that the one that created it is nearby.
Do we need to burn the body more? Is it going to come back?
I think what Cassius here did the job.
Okay, Beth, do you want to go with me and to follow those tracks? And then we'll be back in half an hour.
Casey looks mildly offended at Araya's statement.
Sorry, did you say Kabeth? I was feeding Kid.
Yes.
Kabeth says, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Are the two of you going together as one group, or are you splitting up?
We're going together as a pair.
Okay.
At least that was Charlotte's intention.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I think we should all spread out in pairs. Just a bit.
I think we'll be fine.
Charlotte points at Araya and is like, as she walks away.
Casey, can you help me, like, take care of the body?
Yeah, no
Are we
problem.
quick out of character question. Are we in an open enough space because of the train track that we'd be able to see them even 15 minutes away pretty well?
No, not because
hear them if they yelled?
If they were on the train tracks, well, I mean, see them or hear them?
Either, like see yes or no, and then hear as a backup.
Well, it's dark right now, but so see no. But someone shouting from 15 minutes away, I mean, I think it's maybe a matter of distance, but it's pretty quiet. So if someone were to shout, the odds of hearing them are pretty decent. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, Charlotte and Beth make survival rolls. Tracking.
Come on. I'm gonna use my inspiration. Oh my god.
Hell yeah.
Maybe I don't need to, but on the other hand, I feel like things will go terribly for me, so I'm just gonna use my inspiration.
Okay.
They would net each other out. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the two of you are able to spot the creature's tracks in the snow quite easily. Moving off the trail, you can see where, as it passed by, it snaps some twigs. Maybe a brush and bark off a tree. You're able to follow its trail quite easily. But what you find is a simple meandering path that kind of came in from the north, but it veered from the west. Small steps, and before you really get too far away, they've started to become covered by snow. You feel like if you kept tracking it, you could follow its signs of passage through the brush itself, without regard to the footprints. But yeah, you haven't, in the time that you've followed its trail, you haven't seen any more of these things or any more signs of any other tracks. But it was kind of meandering from the west, which is in the direction of Mirwood.
As they reach out to about 15 minutes away, Charlotte looks at Kipeth and says, "It seems like it's been lone all this time, at least this far. And it's going where we were heading anyway, so..."
Yeah. Hopefully that means it just wandered off from wherever it came from and we won't encounter any more for a while. And hopefully none will make it all the way to Shepherd's End.
Maybe the necromancer has taken over Mirwood and has now had its, the city under its undead thrall. Just gonna turn around and walk back. So,
Beth looks really unhappy at that, but follows along.
Yeah, before too long, you've made it back to the group.
just the one, as far as we could see, for the 15 or so minutes we were out. It was sort of wandering around in a somewhat aimless fashion, but as far as it could tell, all of its remaining tracks were heading back toward the west.
Fledry nods and says, We've been walking all day. This might not be a bad place to set up camp. You didn't see any signs of anything more.
Come on, and start. If they see a good place to camp, then she'll start moving to do that. Unhitch the llamas. Take care of them.
Beth helps.
Yeah, before too long, you've got a small camp set up. There's a bit of a fire going. You've been able to set up some of the tents. Fledrian's helping to unload some things from the cart itself. As you can maybe unhitch the llamas and give them a moment to snack or drink. As you guys are at the fire, Fledrian says, there will be more of these things on the way and there. The kind of magic that raises such a creature doesn't do so in isolation. It's important to know it might not only be the townspeople themselves. The power of this necromancer may be great. I can scarcely predict what horrors they may have been able to summon forth.
Something I'm confused on, I think. I don't know if you're able to clarify or not. You said that you had to flee from Mirwood because of some giant carapace creature. That thing isn't like... it doesn't, like, work under the necromancer, does it?
I don't believe so. There were no signs of the necromancer in Mirwood when I was there. I'd come there to investigate the trail, but I saw nothing like this. And detecting the signs of necromancy, chronomancy, those are within my power. There was nothing there when I was in town.
Chronomancy?
Indeed.
It's about time.
About
God
time
damn
for
it,
what?
Isaac. Fuck. Wait, that's not a... Is that School of Magic? I've not heard of that one before. Gilgay never covered it, at least.
Yeah. Vithedrian kind of glances over and says, I'm not surprised. It's very rare. He kind of goes quiet for a moment. You can see him kind of looking at the fire. Reaches out and kind of turns some of the meat that's warming that. You can see there's a little bit of a conflict on his face. Like he's trying to figure out if he wants to try to explain something, or maybe how to explain something, or even... and he's quiet for a moment. There are two varieties of magic. The most in particular are threatening to our society. One of them deals with the raising of the dead, necromancy, the power to animate corpses of things that used to live, or other magics related to that inevitably lead to such horrors. Another school of magic, forbidden from the kingdom, is that of chronomancy. Magic dealing with changing of fates and time. He pauses again, a bit of conflict on his face. The laws surrounding these magics are unbending. And they come from the horrors of the history, time before our kingdom. I know these things seem strange to you, and I'm glad that they are, that you've never encountered or had to deal with such horrors in your life before. As I'd said, the verdicts that were dispatched to that tower in the east, the stone tower, while I wasn't assigned to the task, again, I had heard about it. And those who were dispatched there were done so to deal with a magician, a magic user, who had gone so far as to try to harness the powers of chronomancy.
You speak of those horrors as inevitabilities. That can't be the case.
Yeah, and what do you mean that whole thing about fate? Fate's... I don't understand.
Those horrors are failings of the people, the individual. They use those magics. The magics themselves are neither good nor bad. And to quell a magic, simply on the off chance that something like that would happen again, is not only irresponsible. Casey kind of grits his teeth a bit, and then holds his tongue.
Ava is concentrating very hard on the verdict's responses. His face as Casey's speaking.
Yeah, Vithedrian, he looks across the fire to Casey. His expression isn't hard-edged. It's sympathetic, maybe remorseful. And he says, I haven't lived a very long time. the laws regarding those schools of magic. They come from a long, hard-fought history, one that helped to establish the kingdom itself, the very foundation of what created our society and allowed it to flourish. I think there are a lot of wise thoughts any of us can have about these things. But it is those very laws, that very structure of our society, that had flourished for so long by those very ideals. Certainly for all of us, there are times we wonder if there are different ways. There are very few tenets of my order. And the first two are very simple, and they have kept the people of this land safe for a very long time. Long live the Queen. The dead must never rise. Long live the Queen. Time must always turn. And I promise you that holding to those ideals has been what has kept our society together for more than 3 centuries.
Casey has locked eyes with Adrian during this exchange, and the fires are flickering in his pupils, and upon him saying those tenets, his clenched fist kind of relaxes a bit. And he nods and says, "Nothing lasts forever then, I guess."
He nods a bit, looks out the fire, and kind of glances upward. And you see his eyes kind of wander towards the north. And he says, "It's true.
At least nothing has yet.
The snow comes down, the fire cracks, a log breaks, embers drift up into the air. And in each of your minds lingers still the first glimpse, will be the last, the undead and the dangers that await you. And that's where we'll end for tonight.
Yay!
We were so close to not leaving
Fuck that.
this session. I mean,
No, we camped. We can go back.
that's true. We're only 2 days away.
I can't not be excited for Vanya. I'm having such a hard time just not being like, oh, look at you breaking the whole world.
You're gonna be so disappointed when it's not fun.
I was thinking, I'm like, only Astariel's actually good at zombies. So I was like, what if it's bait and switch?
It's true. I was also thinking that. I was like, for all the hype about Vanya and necromancy, only Starl made zombies in the last campaign.
Yeah, everybody that Vanya brought back came back.
Yeah, Roo's totally fine.
He is. And Bax is fine now, too. Vanya did great. 2 out of 2, great job.
I'm looking forward to just killing stuff with no moral quandaries. That'll be a good time.
The zombie is the perfect mook.
Exactly. Chris, did I learn anything about fire damage against zombies?
It works.
It works.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good to know.